We ready?
Everybody ready?
Eve,
Are
Julie,
you ready?
you two ready?
We're good.
Okay.
As chairman of the Tennessee Real Estate Commission, I'd like to call this regularly scheduled May meeting to order. I'd like to say we have been looking forward, those of you who are attending our meeting today, we have been looking forward to coming down to Pickwick, to this facility in this part of the state. It's been common for the Real Estate Commission in the month of May to come somewhere west, in West Tennessee. And we've been in Jackson, we've been in Memphis, and this is the first time we've been here to Pickwick Landing. And it's usually common in the month of October that we go somewhere east to enjoy the pretty fall foliage in East Tennessee. But anyway, we hope that you find this informative. We hope that you find this something that will be of benefit to your future as an agent in this industry, and we hope that you take back to your individual offices and share with your fellow licensees what you're going to be experiencing and learning today and tomorrow. But we welcome each of you here. Roll call, Ms. Maxwell.
Yes. Do we need to turn this on today?
Is that light supposed to be green or blinking red on the video?
We're good.
Okay.
Do I need to turn this on, or is it just, is it
It's
on? Okay. Sorry.
It's hard to tell yourself.
Alexander,
Present.
Collins, absent. Bechara. Here. Flitcroft.
Here.
Reese, absent. Haynes.
Here.
McMullen, absent. Northern.
Here.
Stevenson.
Here. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner David Flitcroft to lead us in our invocation this morning.
Let us bow our heads and pray. Dear Lord, the prophet says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not on thy own understanding, and in all things acknowledge him, and he will make straight our way. Dear Lord, make our way straight this day. As we do the state's business, may we act in diligence and wisdom by your grace. Amen.
Amen. Next, it's time to adopt the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Anything anybody'd like to add?
Mr. Chairman, Wayne Pugh, our legal counsel extraordinaire, has left the commission, and I can't tell you how many years we were trying to figure out. It's probably at least
Early 90s anyway.
23 years or something like that. What I'd like to do is have staff put together a letter of recommendation, sort of highlighting some of the high points of what he's done, and have us all sign it at the June meeting. I think it's something he's going to be sorely missed, and he's just done a wonderful business to the state and this commission.
If you want to add that to the agenda, you've already told what you...
That's already it. That's it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Commissioner Alexander.
I move that we defer one item on the agenda until next month, and that's advertising and signage.
Second.
My reasoning for that is Commissioner Grease has spent extensive time researching and doing some work on this, and he's not here today. He probably has some additional information that he has procured since the last meeting, and that's my reasoning for making the motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Alexander, seconded by Commissioner Flitcroft, that we defer in Executive Director's report the advertising signage portion of her report to next month. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. It will be deferred to next month. Commissioner Flitcroft, if I would it be a good place just before Julie Kropp has her report at 1:30 if we discuss about Wayne Pugh, what we'd like to do with him, for him, to him, for him, with him.
I think that's an excellent idea, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we'll put what Commissioner Flitcroft was talking about, Wayne Pugh, we'll discuss that right after the informals, right after lunch. Any other?
Approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Commissioner Alexander makes a motion, we approve our agenda as amended, and it's seconded by Commissioner DeShara. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. The agenda is adopted as amended. I'd like to ask all of you, remind you to take your cell phones and put them on silent, because you may not get credit for being here today if your phone rings. Next on the agenda is approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Mine's on silent.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve our minutes from our last meeting as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Alexander seconds that motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Minutes are approved. Next, our Executive Director, Ms. Eve Maxwell, has our Executive Director's report. The floor is yours, Ms. Maxwell.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the complaint report, and that's on the iPads. The first page of the complaint report shows the open complaint report, shows the open complaints that we have, and you can see that we have 100 open complaints currently. This month, in the month of April to May, we received 28 complaints, so we've received a total of 287 complaints this year. Currently, our complaints, we have 52 that are consumer complaints and 8 that are fellow practitioner complaints, and we have 11 that are against timeshares currently. We don't have any E&O complaints yet at this point. Those will probably be forthcoming. Are there any questions about the first page on complaints? If not, the second page shows the amount of penalties that we've gotten in this year and for the months and for the year, also for the year prior. For this year, for the month of April, we received $27,870 in civil penalty amounts for a total of the year, the fiscal year, which is 7/1 through the present day, is $204,307. At this time last year, on 4/30 of 2012, we had received $225,482. And then our fiscal year will end June the 30th. Are there any questions about that? Pretty straightforward. The next page are the number of complaints that we have open and that have been referred to legal, and then the closed complaints for each of the last 2 fiscal years. The open complaints that we have, as I say, are 100. We have 12 that are open right now just in the administrative section that we're waiting for the response from the respondents. We have 88 that are open and that have been referred to legal. And then you can see this year that we've closed 232 complaints so far this year. And all of last year, for the fiscal year of 11 to 12, we only closed 220. So we've closed more this year than we have in the previous year. We've revoked 2 licenses and closed 39 with consent orders, 8 with letters of warning or instruction, 4 have been referred to outside agencies, and 179 have been closed with no action. Are there any questions about that? The last page is just lists it's a disciplinary action report, the DAR report, and it lists the civil penalties that have been assessed in the last month. And I believe that the commission last month asked that we link the disciplinary action report from our website, which we thought was already linked, but the link must not have been working, and to list, I think, the months separately, which Mr. McDonald has done. Is that correct on the disciplinary action report?
We're still waiting for them to, the SERS has been approved. It's in limbo land with IS.
Okay,
The SERS was
so,
approved like the 29th of April.
and so then they'll put that out there separately each month?
Correct. Commissioner or Assistant Commissioner Giannini at first was looking at that, since it takes all of regulatory boards, it starts with A and then goes down to the Real Estate Commission. He was going to see if there was a way that it would just populate Real Estate Commission. But I haven't heard back from the SERS.
But we already have the link on there, on ours.
Correct.
Right.
It is, it's linked, it's in our newsletter to go to that link.
Right. Okay, so anyway, it's been requested, the SERS is our,
Limbo.
SERS is what our request is to get IS to do something, so that's what that is. Are there any questions about any of these items? It's a slow process, you know, with the systems.
Yeah, it'll be outdated by the time they figure it out.
We understand systems may be going to subcontracting, to being subcontracted out, but we don't.
Ms. Goodwin did approve that 429.
Yeah, well, so then it should be hopefully done soon. Are there any questions about that? If not, the next item is are the licensing statistics. And the first page of the licensing statistics was the number of licensees as of 4/30 and 2/13. We have 23,201 active individuals. That's up 151 from last month. We have 1,288 inactive individuals. That's down 29 from last month. Our retired licensees are down 193 from last month. We have 8,739. We have 25 additional people in broker release. That's 603. So we have a grand total of 33,831 either active, retired, inactive, or broker released licensees, and that's down 46 from last month. The firms, we have 3,881, which is 22 less than last month. We have 6 less retired firms. We have 243 retired firms. We now have 4,124 firms. So our total number of both firms and individuals, and that's again just the timeshare, affiliate broker, and brokers, is 37,955, which is down 74 from last month. And
If I could make one observation. Yes. I think we've bottomed. I think the correction and the decline of active real estate licensees in this state is over. And I think we'll probably see a small, steady increase in the number of licensees that we have going forward, I think. It looked like from watching it the last couple of months.
Right, and I think if you look at the additional statistics, and you can see that the number of individuals falling off has decreased, and we have more people taking the exam and more applications approved. So it does look like it's kind of.
If I could share with all you licensees that are here, 5 years ago we had a little over 34,000 active real estate licensees in Tennessee. A little over, it was like 34,460. 5 years ago. Today we've got 23,201. We're down about 11,000. That's a good thing for those of us that are still in this business. But we've been seeing a steady, small increase the last couple of months in the total number of active licensees. So I think that people realize the ship's not going to totally sink and they're getting back into business.
I think that, yeah, if you look at just the decrease from last year from 4/30/12 to 4/30/13, it's just been 1,621. So, we really are losing fewer and fewer individuals. And if you look at the applications and the exams, for instance, in April of 2013, this past month, we had 328 applications approved compared to 247 this time last year. So that they've really gone up. And for the year to date, just the calendar year to date, we've approved 1,032 applications, and last year we'd only approved 875. and the exams are up. We had 248 people take the exam last April, and we had 226 last April and 466 this April. So that's a good sign as far as the number of people who are at least seeking information about the business. And the other statistics, just for all of the professional licenses that the Real Estate Commission represents, we have a grand total of 41,087, and that includes the timeshare registrations. That's every license that we issue out of the Real Estate Commission. So that's, which is always kind of sometimes sort of forget to include the timeshare registrations and acquisition agents, and those account for a fair number of licenses as well. And our renewal percentage was at 19%, which is means 19% didn't renew their licenses, and that's kind of crept up a little bit. But I think some of that might be natural attrition from some of the older licensees just letting their licenses expire.
Baby boom.
Yeah, by that effect. Are there any questions on the statistics? Okay. If not, the next agenda item is an E&O update, and the E&O, as I had mentioned last month, Rice got permission from the carrier to backdate from 4/30, so they were able to, if you'd had continuous coverage, they were able to backdate all the way back to 1/1 in some instances. And so that process continued on through April, and now they will not be able to backdate anymore, I guess, except in unusual circumstances. As you can see on 5/6, we had 355 licensees who didn't have E&O. So that's great. Our number has we had fallen behind the last two renewal periods, but now 355, that's fewer uninsured people than we had both in 2011 and 2009. So we've sort of gotten back into a situation where we do have a lot of people who got their insurance over the last probably 60 days, and they got it backdated to 1/1. So as this month, once we get moved in, what we plan to do is have another list run that will, be hopefully the final list of individuals who don't have insurance, and we'll send that to Rice to scrub it, and then get with legal and send out complaints or whatever direction legal decides we need to go, as far as either we give them another warning or we send out citations to the individuals who have not gotten insurance. Once we, as I say, run the list again and get it scrubbed by Rice. And that should hopefully not have any problems with people who have insurance getting some sort of a nasty citation or letter.
What will you send? Citation?
Okay, consent orders.
Consent orders?
Yeah, generally we send a consent order and give them 30 days, and then if they don't respond within 30 days, then we go forward with a hearing.
And the consent order will have a fine in it?
A civil penalty, but yes.
A civil penalty
Yeah.
of?
Well, depending on how many days it is.
Well, it'd be 1,000.
Is it 1,000? Okay.
It's 1,000. If they didn't have insurance before 3/30, but as I say, that was that was predicated on their being able to get it backdated.
Right.
And Rice was able then to go to 4/30 to backdate. So all those people that got theirs backdated would be in the same situation as the 3/30, because it would be as if they were insured from the beginning.
So they're not going to get fined, those that were able to get?
Because they'd be looked at, I would assume the reasoning would follow, they'd be looked at that they had insurance from the beginning
Yeah.
if they could get it backdated.
That is how it will appear, so therefore no penalty there.
No
That's right.
penalty.
Right.
But anybody after 4/30 will?
We'll get a consent order, and it's been our experience that usually gets a quarter of people, maybe. Is that right?
Right, yeah.
And then we usually have full hearings for the rest, and those will be in the fall.
And then after 5:30, the new law takes effect, is that the way?
7/1.
Of 2013.
So then they will have to.
Of this year.
Till
Of this year.
7/1.
But that cannot affect this year's, it'll affect the next run of E&O violations, not this one.
Okay, so it won't.
So if you've got some that has not paid by 7/1, it does, their line?
I don't think, will it be,
I
is it
thought the law
retroactive,
was
Julie?
effective, it became effective July 1.
Michael, I spoke briefly with one of the chief counsels who, we discussed it and we can discuss it more, but his thought was it was a bit of a notice issue since that when we sent out these renewals, we gave them the policy of this is the process. Of course, we didn't know at that time. It's kind of something we would then be springing upon them. He wasn't really in favor of that, and we can revisit it a little more. This last month's been a little hectic, but I did have the opportunity to discuss it with him briefly.
So in answer to your question, Mr. Alexander, it will affect the next set for sure. There won't be automatic because that would be unfair treatment because all these people between now and July, they will be paying $1,000 and it'll be really, we can't look at it all the same way and the same punishment, so
I don't believe
no.
that was the intent of the bill.
And are you going to discuss that bill with us at any time? Should we tell the audience what we're talking about?
We have a legislative update, and I have a copy of the
But
signed.
you can tell them, you can go ahead and
bill.
tell them. I mean, I think the audience, since we're talking about it, they would like to know what we're talking about, Julie.
The bill says effective July 1, 2013.
Right.
Effective to me would indicate that at that point, anyone who's not licensed, I mean, who's not current, would automatically.
I think that's right.
Well, I
We can
think
talk to Michael more about it.
we can talk to more. I do think there's a problem with disparate treatment between the licensees, and that's the issue we have to go for because of the timing of the way this has come down. I think that was the issue that we had, is that it would end up having, up until July 1st, people have been paid $1,000, and then after that, they're automatically suspended, and that's not the same treatment.
Where am I missing this?
What is proper notice? Why wouldn't you, if you have,
We don't have this, because right now, we cannot say you will be automatically suspended.
well, the law says it.
The law isn't in place yet.
What?
It's July 1st, 2013.
Yeah, right.
But it was approved in April.
But it's
So-
not effective to July 1st, so the law is not in place.
But isn't that a notice?
No.
Between April and July?
No, because we can't say you'll be suspended at this point, because they won't. They cannot be suspended between now and then, no
No,
matter
no,
what.
I'm not saying that they would be at this point. I'm
But they
saying the
will be
period
after
between April 12th and July 1
Julie, did you discuss
might
that?
serve as a notice period.
Did you discuss that with Michael about that?
We did briefly, but we can talk about it
It-
more.
it is
because
something that-
I understand the concern.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him more about it this month. We just really, it was a month where we weren't able to, it was discussed among other topics, and we've got time to discuss it after this
There
meeting.
was a law passed this year that said if you don't have E&O insurance, your license will be suspended. We're going to forget this fine thing where we take you, a penalty thing. So you'll just be suspended after a certain day.
I think you can still have a civil penalty and a hearing.
Civil penalty and a hearing.
But I think you still can have that, but instead of this limbo period, what'll happen is there'll be an automatic suspension. It'll be up to the individual to come back and try to undo that.
Right.
So the burden will be more on
A
them.
little more teeth in it.
It provides for a timetable wherein, depending upon the amount of time the issue is corrected, that is what determines the amount of the civil penalty. And after a certain period of time, if it's not done, then it allows for revocation of the license. And, of course, then they can come back and request reinstatement under certain provisions. But it basically sets a more automatic procedure rather than going through these hearings as we've had to do in the past.
And the reason for that, for the audience to know, is because typically we have thousands at the beginning of the year, thousands in the middle of the year, and then we might get down to 500 or 600 or 700 people for hearings, and then ultimately at least 100 for hearing. And it's difficult, expensive, and the law basically is you have to have E&O insurance. End of the story.
I thought when the governor signed a bill, it was law.
I'm sorry?
I thought if the governor signed a bill, it was law.
There's always an effective date.
And is it,
Effective date is July 1.
It's July 1st.
and
That's
is this
right.
posted on our website somewhere where licensees can look at it?
The new bill is referenced, is it referenced on our website? It seems like it is, I think it is.
But I
really
think,
Because it was
I
just
don't think
signed.
that, I think Julie's right. You all, I understand your concerns, she understands your concerns, but we have to look at it from a different point of view, and we can't make a decision on that without further direction of general counsel, who looks at the policies and making sure that we do it in an appropriate way. So we're just gonna have to wait, and if the word comes down from above, that of course we can make it effective to everybody at this point in time as July 1st, that's fine, but if not, we can't. It's just that simple too. So we need to wait and get more direction from general counsel.
Commissioner DeShar wanted me to ask a question. Does this mean that if they don't have E&O by July the 1st, that they're grandfathered?
Don't go there.
Would y'all all just say goodbye
joking.
to Commissioner Stevenson?
I knew when he was asking a question for her.
I think
there was
those people
something.
laughing must know you.
They do.
It's not on the website yet because it's not effective yet, so I hadn't put it up. Should I put
Oh,
it up?
that's right.
But it's law. He signed it.
But it's not, it has an effective date
Well,
written
I
into
would
the
think
bill
it should
itself.
probably be on the website just so people know what's
Just as a
coming.
matter of notice.
It's a notice.
That's up to, if, that's not us.
Can I make a motion that we try to, the staff put this on the website as soon as possible?
Well, yeah, we can put it on as soon as possible. We can't, I'm not even sure we can link it to the public law. It won't be in Michies until
Well,
the effective date or after, probably November.
I have it as a scanned document though, so we could just put a link
And put a link on there.
and link it to the PDF.
Yeah, we could do that to the public act, just the public chapter sign, yeah, we could do that.
Hopefully I'll have a computer on Monday.
Because now everybody's interested, they want to read the law.
Right, yeah,
So
yeah.
is that appropriate for me to make a motion?
Do you need a motion?
Do I
I'll just do it.
Kind of motion you want.
Don't need a motion.
Okay, that's fine. As long
It
as you
died
do
for
it.
lack of a second.
The question, really the question that the commission has is for the people who expired 1/1 of 2013, should this, or will this be retroactive for those who now are remaining uninsured after July the 1st? Is that the question? I mean, so that
Yeah,
going
basically.
forward, so say if you have a policy that expires 10/15 of 2013, it would apply to those individuals because theirs expires.
Right.
After the effective date of the
Of the
bill.
new law.
Right, the new law. But your concern, the commissioner's concern really is the group that expired on 1/1 of 2013 and those that remain uninsured from that group. I mean, that's because that's obviously the largest group of individuals, is that correct?
My concern is those that still doesn't have insurance after July 1 of 13.
But-
Now, just a minute, I got the floor right now.
I'm sorry.
I can't see where, and I'm not talking about staff or you all, I don't see how who am I talking about? In commerce and insurance, the attorneys in that can make that decision. It seems to me that it is a decision of the Attorney General or somebody besides somebody, that their opinion is no different than your opinion, and I don't believe that's law.
Well, you may be right, Mr. Alexander, but I would suggest that there has been, since commerce insurance has been around a while, and these issues come up regularly, I would suggest that there probably is something in place that addresses this, and we just don't have the absolute answer for you yet.
I don't argue the point.
Yeah.
The only thing I say is, it was some of us that worked to get this passed had the understanding, and the folks that authored the bill was of the opinion that it became effective July 1 of 2013.
I tell you, I'd be happy to send a note while we're talking to see if I can get any more direction while we're meeting.
And I don't see no reason for us to belabor the point. It's either going to happen or not going to happen. Let's move on, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Commissioner Alexander.
Mr. Chairman, two matters. First, I'd ask that Mr. McDonald in his next newsletter discuss this in some considerable detail.
Absolutely.
Secondly, with the chairman's permission, I'd like to address the audience.
Go ahead, Commissioner Flitcroft.
There is a bill, there is a law The law says if you don't have E&O, your license will be suspended. All the details of this are being ironed out, but it's been a thorn in the side of this commission and the whole real estate community, and a disgrace. I've been on this board for 7 years, and we've had a time when we had thousands. Half of the licensees didn't have E&O on time. And there was a reason that the statute requires E&O. And the reason is probably more than anything else to protect your house. You can lose your house or you get sued. You don't have E&O insurance. And we have toyed with a number of different provisions trying to come up with something. And finally, we came up with the idea that you can't have your license being suspended, sort of a limbo situation until you get the, and that's a rough summary. There's more to it than that. But when you go back to your local boards and you go back to your brokers, or brokers if you're here, tell your affiliates, you gotta have E&O if you're going to do real estate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Flitcroft. I just have one comment, and I don't want to belabor the point about this errors of omissions insurance and this bill that has been passed and signed by the governor, effective date July the 1st, 2013. If on July the 2nd, less than 2 months from now, we have a licensee that does not have E&O insurance, what are we going to do?
That's what she's got to find out.
It's my opinion of this bill and the way it was worded and the intent of this bill that that staff sends them a letter saying that their license is suspended until they show proof of E&O insurance.
That's what she's got to
That's
find
what
out.
we'll find out.
That's what we'll find out.
We'll know more in June.
Oh, maybe today. She's
Okay.
emailing.
Okay, Ms. Maxwell, continue on.
Yes. The next item are a couple of reinstatement requests, and I guess I'll just read these requests and sort of give you just a brief overview of the individuals who are making the request for either to be reinstated or to have their penalties waived. The first individual is Laura Shockley. She was first licensed on 4/6 of 1987. She retired her license on 9/15/2011. She failed to renew, and her license expired on 10/2 of 2011. She contacted TREC on 4/11 of 2013, 18 months, a little over 18 months after her expiry date. And she doesn't show any other reinstatement penalties listed. She was sent a renewal notice, which was not returned to TREC, so we assume she got it. She writes, I'm writing regarding my license, which I retired in September of 2011. At the time, I thought I'd paid all the fees associated with the retirement of the license and knew that I would need to continue paying renewal fees every 2 years. I called your office yesterday, and this was written on April the 12th of 2013. As I say, her license expired October the 2nd of 2011. I called your office yesterday to see when my next fee would be due and discovered that my license had expired. If you check my records, you'll see I met all my education requirements and paid all required fees since I obtained the license in 1987. You can also see that I went through the steps to retire the license by meeting the education requirements. However, I inadvertently missed the fact that there was another fee due at that time. I respectfully request that you allow me to pay the fees and penalties to maintain the retirement status. I'm willing to pay renewal fees for 11 and 13 along with penalties. I'm very disheartened to learn that the license was expired after thinking I completed the requirements. I would very much appreciate if the retirement status could be reinstated. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Sincerely, Laura Lynn Shockley. So,
is there a,
Commissioner Alexander, we got to hear you.
Yeah, Ms. McElroy, you have to bring me up to date because I don't keep up with all of that, but is there a time period where you cannot pay, or can you always pay your fees, whatever you did not pay, and your penalties and come back, or is there a statute or limitation about the period of time that runs?
Well, the commission has a policy that was for 12 months after the date of expiry. That was the reinstatement policy, and that remains the reinstatement policy.
This has been how long?
Over 18 months.
But she's willing to pay the fees for the 18 months?
Well,
And the penalties?
well, the fees are, the fees right now are calculated only for a year, so I'm not, I don't know if she really realizes how much they would be, but we right now have a schedule that takes us through the 365th day.
She has all the education, not grandfathered.
She's retired, so she's an affiliate broker. She's retired.
But is he or she required, or she, I know she, but my question is, does she have to have additional, is she keeping her education up?
Well, she's retired, so she got her
She doesn't
education
have any,
and then
but-
retired her license.
But she had her education when she,
Correct, because she retired her license in September of 2011, and then her license expired 2 weeks later on October the 2nd of 2011.
so she's in essence 6 months old.
No, she's 6 months over the reinstatement policy, because the current reinstatement policy, even with the changes that were made last month by the commission, provide for the policy to apply only for those reinstatements 12 months after expiry.
And that was done last month?
Well, last month, no, the policy's been in effect since 1987 and was revised in 88, in 2000 and, it was 2007, 2008 it was revised. It was revised again in 2012 and then again last month in 2013. It remains the reinstatement policy for 12 months after expiry. And then after that, the policy says you have to retest and reapply.
I think if we agree to let her be reinstated after this length of time, we're opening a can of worms that don't need to be opened.
Seems like we did that last month, too.
And the question I have, is this within the scope of what this commission has the authority to do? Go
Yeah.
beyond? I assume that we have this authority.
The statute doesn't.
The statute doesn't limit it. It says that after 60 days, basically any person desiring reinstatement must reapply for licensure, provided, however, that the commission may, in its discretion, do a number of things: waive reexamination, continuing education, or reinstate, subject to compliance with reasonable conditions, which is what you did by laying out your policy. The statute doesn't lay it out. Your policy merely just states that after 12 months they must retest and reapply. That's not echoing any language in this statute.
I think if she would have had a medical reason or something else, it would be a little bit different, but my motion is that we not reinstate her.
I have a motion on the floor by Commissioner DeShara that we do not allow Laura Lynn Shockley to be reinstated by paying all the fines and renewal fees that would be applicable in this case. What would be the total penalty?
The fees?
Yeah, the fees and
Penalties, I'm sorry. Well, the reinstatement policy currently applies just for those 12 months after expiry, so that so that if you presume that the additional fees that would accrue in those 6 months after the 12 months, so was $150, which are the fees for the last 8 months under the reinstatement policy right now. So for the reinstatement policy right now says for the first 4 months of the 12-month reinstatement period, you pay $50 every 30 days or portion thereof. For the next 8 months, and occurring every 30 days or portion thereof, you pay $150.
So it'd be 8 times 150.
Right. It's about 14.
Well, then another 6.
Well, so, no, yeah, so what,
It'd be $1,200.
so then you add the,
You'd have to say it'd be another $150.
right, so I'm saying it'd be $150 for 30 days or every portion thereof, right?
month.
We
Per
don't
month.
address it past a year.
And so
The law does.
you would add that to the, I mean,
It would
presumably.
be 8 more months
It
past
would
the year.
be September, it'd be like 6.5 September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, yeah, probably 8 more months,
$900 or $1,000.
yeah.
It'd be 7 months would be $1,050 more
$1,350, yeah.
on top of the 1,400. So we'll be looking at 1,400 plus roughly 1,050.
So about $2,500.
So about $2,500 would be her total
Plus the renewal,
reinstatement.
plus the renewal fees. 'cause she
Plus
has-
the renewal fee of
It'd be $2,750, I think. plus-
160, 2 times 80.
Plus $2,750, I think, if you go 9 months times 150.
So you'll be looking to roughly $2,800, somewhere in that ballpark, give or take $100.
But in the past, hasn't it just been the norm? When they call after a year, you just say you've got to retest?
Correct, I mean, because the policy says in plain language, you have to retest and reapply.
This individual's asking to be able to maintain her license in a retired status. She's not asking to be active.
But she can
if
come
I
active
understand.
anytime.
I understand that. But as I've indicated before, this body has the authority to grant that consideration if we choose to do so based on what we consider to be reasonable explanation. And that's all she's asking. She's not asking us to tread new water. She's just asking us to make a decision based on what the situation that she's in. That's all we need to decide on. Either she gave us sufficient information to say yes, or she didn't.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner DeShara not to grant her request
You
to,
have no second, Mr. Chairman.
say again?
No, there's no second.
There's no
You
second.
have no second.
We have no second. I don't know how long we're gonna wait before her motion dies for lack of a second.
Well,
I guess it's dead now.
That's the chairman's discretion.
Her motion is dead.
You need another motion.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion. I move that we approve the waiver request, but that because our current policy expires at the end of 12 months, that we charge an additional $50 for each month that she's delinquent, and she has to pay all this money by June the 1st, 2013, and if she doesn't pay all this money by 2013, June the 1st, 2013, the waiver request is denied.
Clarification.
Not 50, it's
Are you saying that $50 in addition to the $150, or $50 as opposed to the $150?
I stand corrected. The amount should be,
It's either 150 or it's 200, which is, Isaac and I are taking it as you saying it's 150 plus a 50, which would be,
For the additional 8 months.
Right.
for the additional 8 months, would be $200.
Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, I withdraw my motion in favor of a more distinguished person by Mr. Alexander.
No, I'm making, I'm just counting your money.
Just clarify.
Just for clarification.
Yeah, clarification.
What's he saying, are you saying?
You're saying total
He said $50.
That's what I know, that's what I wanted.
But my question was that an additional 50
Yeah. Or just
attached to the regular
Right.
150? Now,
Was it
which
a
is-
reduction or?
You gonna charge her 200? If you are, I'm gonna second your motion.
They'll charge you 200.
All right, I'm gonna second the motion.
Okay.
But that's for the
But,
additional
Mr. Chairman,
additional 8
the
months.
crux of the motion is if she's going to do it, we want her to do it quick.
You understand, Ms. Mack?
So-
She pays the first 4 months, then the balance was the 150, and then the 8 additional months, she pays $200.
And it all has to be paid by June 1st.
That's right.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Commissioner Flitcroft, and seconded by Commissioner Alexander, which I think says this, that the first 4 months is $200, and then the additional months is $150 up to 12 months.
Right.
But for the additional 7.5 months or so, it will be $200 a month, which is beyond what our policy says, that it's $150 for those 8 months to make up the 12, but now we're over to about another 7.5 months, that those additional 7.5 months beyond the original 12 is $200 a month penalty. Am I explaining this correctly?
You're right on target. Except that she has to, she's going to do it, she has to do it by June the 1st.
June the 1st.
And I think once you've all passed this by motion, you need to probably articulate a reason for, for granting this waiver, just so we have it on the record for future,
Well, you hear the motion, and you hear the second, and you've heard the discussion. Any more discussion on the motion? Any more discussion on the motion?
Call for the question.
Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries. Now,
Mr. Chairman, the reason for the motion and the rationale behind the motion is this lady appears to be contrite, and she admits that she did wrong. She's not blaming anyone else, and I can see no damage to the state or the people of Tennessee in granting the waiver, provided she does so and does so immediately.
you have heard,
I love lawyers.
you have heard the explanation to staff why we have made this decision and why we have ruled in the manner in which we have. Any commissioners have any comments as to what Commissioner Flitcroft has put into the record as per the reason for our action on this matter? The staff will that be sufficient for what you need?
I just thought we needed to get it in the record.
Okay, Ms. Crop, thank you. Moving along.
The second, the second reinstatement request is from Trista Baird. She was first licensed on 8/10 of 2010. She inactivated her license on 5/4/2011. She wanted to retire it, but she didn't have her education, so it went into an inactive status, which is not a renewable status. 6 months before her expiration, she was sent a letter by the Education Department telling her that her CE was due before her expiration on 8/9 of 2012. The letter was not returned. She failed to pay the renewal or complete her CE, and she expired on 8/9 of 2012. She has no prior reinstatement penalties listed in her payment history. She first contacted TREC and was sent some reinstatement information on 4/17 of 2013. And this is her letter, which was written on April the 22nd of 2013. I am asking the board to reconsider the fines that are in place for reinstatement of my real estate license. I went through a personal hardship back in 2011. My husband at the time came home from deployment, and within 3 days, in total shock, I was going through a separation and unfortunate divorce. I would like to return to real estate, but the fines in place will make it difficult. It has been a difficult transition for me and my children. I love the business, and I would greatly appreciate any consideration on the matter. Thank you in advance, Trista Baird.
Mr. Chairman, I move we deny.
We have a motion by Commissioner Alexander to deny this request. Is there a second?
A second.
Yeah, I was going to second for discussion.
Commissioner Flitcroft seconds Commissioner Alexander's motion to deny. Discussion. Let's have it. I wonder where his deployment was. Does staff know?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
My husband at the time came home from deployment. Wonder where he was deployed.
If recollection, from my memory, I think they're in Clarksville. Isn't she based in Clarksville?
was
He's
in
probably
Afghanistan.
if it's in Clarksville, Fort Campbell was 101st Airborne.
Yeah, it's Montgomery.
Okay, my question is, if we deny this,
Okay, what are her options?
Retest.
Go retest.
Just retest, but then will her fines all be dropped?
She starts new. When you retest and reapply, you start as in like day one.
You start just totally new and all those other, if there's been fines.
I mean, you still have your education listed, but the fines go away.
The fines go away. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
That sounds like the best thing.
Commissioner Northern.
could staff calculate the
It's on here.
amount of fine?
Next one, go one more page.
950.
Be $950.
And that was calculated as of 4/17/2013, and then she also has the renewal fee.
And
she
commissioners, when
doesn't have her education, she didn't have her education.
She doesn't
can't
have her
remember
education,
that.
it's an entirely different case than
Yeah.
the one you just looked at. You looked at one that had the education, one that's willing to pay all the back fees, and one that had been licensed for a considerable period of time. She probably could go back through, she's got to get her education anyway, and go back through the system cheaper than you could to pay the fees. I agree with you. Now, you've been talking about, we have a policy statement that says you will pay these fees, or we can waive them or do whatever. We've got a motion and second. That's me, I'm not gonna pout all day if you don't vote my motion down either.
Any other discussion? The only thing is that's the reason I asked that question, where this individual was deployed to, because in the past, if there's had been some kind of.
I thought she said she got a divorce.
Do what?
Yeah, he came back from being deployed somewhere and evidently said, I don't want to be married anymore. And they got a divorce.
There are other people that get a divorce, that don't mean we're gonna give you a license, is it?
Any other discussion on the motion?
Call for the question.
Question has been called. The motion is that deny this request, and the request is that we waiver all the fees.
No, my motion wasn't anything about waiving any fees.
No.
No, that's just.
This motion was to deny.
To deny us waiving her fees.
Just deny the request.
Just deny the request. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
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 We've got
Motion
6
carries.
of us here,
Got two
and
no.
we've got
Did you vote?
a no.
So what
I
thought.
have not voted.
Now you gotta make up your mind.
Let's get on the middle of the fence there, Mr. Chairman. If I was you, I'd abstain.
I gotta decide. Either this is gonna be die or it's gonna pass. They never said it'd be easy. Yes, I vote yes to the motion to.
You see, you took the chicken way out.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Northern.
staff has asked for clarification on our last matter with regards to whether or not we were going to require that individual to attend the meeting. It
Mr.
was
Norton,
not stated as...
I didn't hear you. Would you restate that?
Staff has asked for clarification on not this most current motion, but the one prior to for Ms. Shockley, as to whether or not she is to be required to attend the meetings,
The commission meeting.
commission meetings. I did not hear that as a part of the motion, but staff has asked for clarification.
I think it should be. She should.
Typically, if their license is in retirement, we don't require them to come to a commission meeting.
Yes, we do.
We do? Okay.
All right. Since I made that motion, if she
We've got
reinstates-
people sitting here today that are here for that very same reason.
if she, that's got to retire, any here that's sitting here that for this simple reason, that their license are in retirement. Hold up your hand if you're licensed in retirement.
Okay.
Okay. And you, then my motion then is that she come for 2 days.
2 days for the next 6 months.
That's right. Within next,
Or pay the fee.
Or pay the fee.
pardon?
Or pay the $750 fee for waiving the meeting.
Oh, that doesn't have anything to do with it. That's in addition to the fees. You go pay all the
Right.
fees.
It's either come to the meeting or pay that.
Or pay that fee, yes. That fee is, what is that fee, $1,000?
$750.
Yeah, yeah. She may like to rather spend money than to come, so
What,
Just like anyone else.
then we're running
Yeah, just like
consistent.
anybody else.
what is your motion, Mr. Alexander?
My motion is that she attend 2 days session of this commission meeting in addition to her being reinstating, or she can pay $750 and not come. If she wants to pay the $750, we'll take that $750 in addition to the others. Or she comes for 2 days of,
And she has how long to do this? 6 months?
6 months, like everybody else has got.
Commissioner Alexander's made a motion that Ms.
Second.
Shockley, and a second by Commissioner Haynes, that Ms. Shockley be required to come to a commission meeting within the next 6 months. If she chooses not to come for a 2-day commission meeting within the next 6 months, she can pay $750 in penalty and not come. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Move on.
And did you all articulate a reason for denying?
Speak up, Julie.
I'm sorry, did you all articulate a reason for denying the second one? I guess it was covered in the discussion, but we,
No, they didn't give the reason.
Commissioner Stevenson, you want to give that rationale?
Since you were the deciding vote.
Unlike the previous individual who was willing to pay the penalties due, I felt that the penalties were due and that she could either pay the fees or she has the option to retest.
Now that you've made that statement, Mr. Chairman, I move we take a break before we go into the next
It's time to set the camera anyway.
segment.
Good time.
It's exactly 10 o'clock. Let's take a 10-minute break. Be back in here 10 after. You're welcome.